Yes. I'm audible.
Yeah, Ganesh, you're audible.
Great. And first of all, I would like to thank you folks for bringing up this thing, like the code review, which is like amazing. I mean, like most of the folks won't care about this much, like especially for the beginners, right? So I would like to like thank you. And yeah, coming to the question, so if in case like being a new developer into a team where there is a strict review system followed, so how should we take like if we raise a PR and if we send it to a review, then obviously there will be like multiple comments where updating and suggestions, all of this thing will commented, right? So what should be that person's way of taking those things? Like obviously it will be like uh, extensive, right? Like it will be like immense, like overwhelming, right? So what should be the person's attitude to like take them on, like accept them? Look, I just want to ask that.
Yeah, Anshu.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. It has happened with, I think, with everyone. It has happened with me also. So especially when you start your journey in the software industry. So basically, I remember that in my initial few features that PR that I have raised, I think it was like a pretty tedious process for me, and it was around somewhere close to 50-60 comments that was popping up in my PRs, right? So when you get started, you already have some doubts in your mind that okay, you are trying very hard to understand the code base, trying to contribute so that you can get the validation that no man, you are right, you belongs here, right? And then you raise the PR and these things start coming up, right? So which is pretty much normal thing. It has happened with, I think every developer has to go through the journey. Now the question is, how do you handle it, right? So basically, when you're raising your PR and you're getting those comments, first of all, you need to accept that this is perfectly fine, right? It is perfectly fine that you're getting around 50-60 comments in the initial PRs, and that is fine. You don't have to worry about it, but so you don't have to take it like okay, you have some issues with your code, right? So you don't have to take it in a negative way. You can take it in a positive way, right? So the more comment that is coming up in your PR, it means that there are some right, you need to basically you need to write your code in a better way, or I mean you're not thinking about some scenarios which is missing up, and because of that the comment is getting popped up, right? So you have to improve in that. So the difference is there, and you need to improve it up, right? Now I personally, whenever I review any code and when I give these many comments, or when I do some rigorous, of course every PR is a rigorous code review process, I generally say to every developer, especially the new joiners, is that the process can be overwhelming for you, right? And it can be rigorous and tedious for you. You might feel frustrated, but trust me on that, the level at which you are feeling the frustration or the overwhelming, right? It is no comparison that if I basically ship your code without any issues, without doing proper code review, I ship your code to the production, and there your code break the production, right? So now that stress,
the level is too much.
yeah, that stress, I can say that stress is basically 50 times more than what is the code review process. The stress that you are getting, or the frustration that you have in the code review process, right? So it's always better. I always say this to everyone that I talk to, is that is fine. You're sometimes spending an extra hour getting stressed out, getting frustrated. That is perfectly fine in the code review process. That is happening because it will allow you to grow as a developer. Because if that doesn't happen and your code basically gets into the production and then it create problem, then that is basically then there are more eyeballs, more eyeballs on you, there is a lot more focus, there is a lot of stress, and then you are obviously creating issues for your company also, right? So I think if you compare these two scenarios, I think the first one is still fine, right? So you don't basically take it in negative way, take it in a positive way, improve. What you should focus on is that you should not make the same mistake twice. So let's say that there is some comments, what you should basically focus on is that you should not get the same comment again and again in your PR, right? When you join any company, right, the company knows that you need to basically get onboarded, and it will take some time for you to fully onboarded into their their code system or their review process or their quality benchmark. So initially you can basically ask, you can be stupid, right? You can ask stupid question, you can make tons of mistake, but get basically make that mistake, get rid with it in the initial 3 or 4 months, so that you don't make the same mistake in the future, like after 1.5 years, right? Because then if you make those mistake, right, then it's bad for you, I think. But in the starting you have that flexibility of making those mistakes, having those rigorous test PR reviews, having lot of comments. But your goal should be that with time you should reduce the number of comments, you should not make same mistakes. And it might, I know that it can be a little frustrating at times, but that's fine. You have to go through the journey. There is no escape ahead for that.
Okay,
Right.
so basically, like in order to avoid that higher damage after that, whatever the code I have written, that getting shifted to production.
Yeah.
So I have to sort it out during the reviews, right?
Correct. Review process, because in the review process there is only, right, review process is not like is basically a process where people are there to judge you. Trust me on that. It's more of like that, if you're writing some code in a right, and there are some you might have missed some edge cases, and there are a person who is doing the same thing for let's say for 1.5 year and 2 years, right? Let's say that I have a 3 year of experience, you have a 1 year of experience. Obviously I those 2 years means a lot, and I know there are some scenario things I know better than you, right? So it's basically coming, I am thinking from my experience, and then I am telling you that, hey man, you're writing good code, that's fine, right? But I am bringing my expertise into your code, right? So, and that's why there is a comment. So when you are getting more comments, it's not that you have problem, right? It's that the person who is bringing his experience or her experience, right, and they are basically helping you to basically think from their perspective with their experience, and they are helping you to actually grow by those review process, right? So you have to take it with that context, and it will basically help you a lot.
Awesome. I completely agree with that. And now I just thinking like the more comments I get, the more scope for me to learn things.
Yeah, exactly. And the faster you can overcome out of those mistakes, right? Let's say that in companies, you are in a startup, there is no review process happening, right? Now there is no comments, there is no tedious review process. But so right, and then you have a 3 year of experience, you go into a good company and you start making those basic mistakes. I think that is bad for you. So as long as I always say that make mistake, get done with that, right? And just learn from it. Just the only thing is that don't make the same mistake again.
Perfect. Great. Yeah, that answers my question, and thanks for your insights. Thanks, Anshu.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you, Ganesh, for this amazing question. So, the answer is कि we should not repeat ourselves. We should not repeat the same mistakes. And if in your company, for example, if you're working in an early stage startup, as Anshu said, the code review process is not very tough. Tough in the sense like they don't see that much, because for X number of reasons, for resources and for whatever reason they might be having. I worked in a startup, and my first company, I guess, yeah. So in my first company, on the first day, it was an early stage startup. So I just made some mistake over there, and it got merged in the dev environment, and it blocked all the notification, and it was my first day. So yeah, from that was the incident I realized the code review process is very good, because like at the end of the day, when every notification was blocked, the question came to me, why did you write that code, that kind of code? But since we don't have any solid review system in a startup,
Correct.
so yeah, that was heartbreaking for the first.
I think if those scenarios those bugs get into the production, it's not your mistake. It's the failure of the whole team, right?
Right.
So the first thing is that the person who reviewed the code, why it was not caught up in the review process, why it was not caught in the test